It was a very fast-paced lifestyle. I was literally somewhere every single week. I was somewhere in a different state. I was at a training. I was on vacation. Every single week, there was something going on. My life was quick. It was fast-paced. It was like going 90 on a turnpike. I knew where I was going, and I was enjoying it. I had the windows down. The wind wasn't bothering me. It was a beautiful sunny day, clear road, and that was my life as a flight attendant. And then I become a wife. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, family, to Tea Time Podcast by Byatiyaj. This is your self-help, spiritual podcast, uplifting topics we all love to avoid, but we definitely need to conquer. Tea time is your moment to pause, listen, and absorb what is soothing to you. I'm Atiyaj, aka Tia, a certified holistic life coach, and this idea was sparked by my passion to help others discover their latent potential, purpose, and significance, especially if you are one who feels overlooked, alone, or forgotten. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. I see you and I feel you. Welcome to Tea Time Podcast. Enjoy the tea. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Tea Time Podcast. It's your girl Tia, Atiyaj, and it is my pleasure to bring to you another thought-provoking podcast episode. Let's get into the tea, the positivity. Let's get into the mentality. Let's get into spirituality, right? First, before I get into the podcast, just some updates and announcements. I, number one, am striving to be more consistent. So I want you to look out for a podcast episode every single Tuesday. Every single Tuesday, there should be a podcast episode. Tea Time Tuesday is what we're doing to take it over, right? Your favorite self-help podcast needs to be out every week for it to be your favorite. So I'm going to work on that, making it more consistent. I'm going to give myself the space and time to be able to do bulk episodes and editing so that I can actually store up episodes to put out. I like keeping things consistent, so I'm not going to have them saved for like 3 months and then put episodes out there. But I will just try to do a couple episodes at a time so that I can be consistent every week on Tea Time Tuesday putting episodes out. So this is my commitment to you to make that happen. I appreciate everyone who has rocked with me thus far. Make sure that you go ahead and subscribe. Make sure that you go ahead and follow this podcast wherever you're listening to it. If you would like to support me, you can go to anchor.fm/teatimepodcast and actually financially support me in creating this podcast, because I do take a lot of time to do it, and I do try to make it with this beautiful camera and this wonderful mic. I do try to make it as professional as possible, and I will add to it as much as I can as I continue to grow. So your support helps me to do better. I appreciate everyone who has supported, and I appreciate those of you who support by listening and sharing as well. Thank you. Another update. So I would like everyone to follow me on TikTok at byatiyaj, Atiyaj. At byatiyaj is my handle on TikTok. I will be posting there more often because TikTok is popping. Like, it's kind of lit. And what else? I also want you to stay tuned in my podcast. I'm going to have an announcement coming up one day because me and hubby, we are, just working on things. So we're going to have a lot of things coming out soon, and it's going to be announced on the podcast, of course, and also on my social media. So make sure you're also on Instagram at Tea Time Podcast. Follow me on Instagram to stay updated with what's going on. I also would like to say that I'm going to try to incorporate more music into the podcast again. I know there's like this craziness with the licensing and everything, but I don't own any rights to anything. So just let me use music. Jesus. But you all know that I'm a music head, so I want to incorporate more music other than the background music into what's going on in the podcast. So I hope to do that. And lastly, I am going to plug myself and put a little ad out there. If you didn't know, now you know that I, Atiyaj, am a certified life coach. That means that I paid for the schooling and I learned what I needed to learn in order to be a legit life coach, not someone out here giving advice, but someone out here just like Iyanla Van Zant, fix my life vibe, right? I'm not going to curse at you or yell at you because I'm not that old yet. I can't do what my respected elder does. However, I have my own style in helping you to face you in order to in order to move forward in your purpose, in order to realize your purpose, and in order to make the plans and the steps that you need to make your life more fulfilling, so that we're just not out here living, coasting, not really doing anything in life. We all should be living with a purpose. So that is the philosophy behind my life coaching. I want to help you find your latent potential, your latent purpose. And in my certification, in my training and what I've learned, I have the tools to help you to do that. So if you are at all interested in life coaching and learning more about how I could help you, please visit acourseofaction.com and also follow at A Course of Action on Instagram. That is my life coaching business page. Definitely hit me up. Oh, and lastly, here's the actual last announcement. I will be coming back with Wellness Ciphers. I was away for a little bit. However, I'm going to go ahead in November, move forward with Wellness Cipher. And if you didn't know what that is a space for Black people. Those of us who are Black, I wanted to create a space where we can come together, talk and heal, and talk about pressing topics like we do on the podcast, but that we don't necessarily have the safe space or the friend time or capacity to do in our daily lives. So I want to create that healing space, incorporating music and music healing as well, so that us as a people can come together, create community, and heal together. Because when we heal together, we heal a community, not just a self. So might as well do that at once. So thank you all for tuning into these announcements. Let's get into the podcast. And I'm back. You saw how I leaned back and then I came back. Now we in podcast mode. All right. So for this episode, I wanted to tell a story. And this is something I was reflecting on while washing dishes this morning. And I realized in the experience that I'm going to share with you, I actually had a life lesson. And here we go. So, if you live in Jersey or you've been through Jersey or you live in New York, you might have had run-ins with the New Jersey Turnpike. Now, after COVID, it seems like everywhere in the United States of America has gotten a lot more congested. There's a lot more traffic in places that there weren't, and places that had traffic before have just gotten bombarded with a whole bunch of traffic, and it's kind of ridiculous. So I live in Jersey, and of course, I take the Jersey Turnpike. And one weekend past, I was heading to Queens with Matt, my husband, and Journey, because we were heading to our friend's daughter's birthday party so that Journey can have fun and we can also enjoy ourselves as well. So we're heading to Queens. You know, it's a Saturday, and this is about maybe noon, around 1 o'clock, I think it was, closer to. So, of course, if we're heading to New York, especially on a turnpike, there's going to be some traffic. However, when we approach the turnpike, y'all, before we even got to the toll booth, before we got there, it just almost stopped. Like, there was just bumper to bumper traffic. So we're like, oh my God, what is happening? This didn't even show up on Google Maps beforehand. So where is this map coming from? And me and my husband were both complaining about the traffic that is going on because we're tired of this. Like, everywhere we go, we have to drive in traffic, and it gets annoying. Like, no matter what time of day, no matter where you're going, sometimes you're just going to be stuck in some type of traffic. And this was bumper to bumper. So we're barely moving, and we're trying to get to Queens, trying to get out of here so we can enjoy our time. And this is slowing us down. So approaching the toll booth, when, we're inching our way up, and then we notice, oh, the car side of the turnpike is closed. That's probably what's causing this traffic. And we begin our complaints about why are they closing? This is like the middle of the day. Why would you close that side? That doesn't make any sense that the car side is closed. We should be able to go. That's why there's all this traffic here, because we're pushing, everybody is merging. If you've ever been on the turnpike, you have the car side and you have the car and truck side. So now everyone is merging over to just the car and truck side. So all these people who don't know how to drive, all these out of town people, all these people who get confused when things get switched around, it's just getting slow and backed up. And there are hundreds and thousands of cars going through one lane right now onto the turnpike. So we complaining, we're angry. I hope you could feel it. That's why I'm kind of talking like this, so you could feel what we're going through. And it's a little hot. Like, you know, when it's not this fall weather, when it's not really hot, but it's just hot in the car because the sun is beaming right on you. So you got the AC on, but then you get cold, so you got to turn the AC off. And all of this is happening with traffic. Like, you know, luckily we were able to roll the window down a bit because we weren't zooming on the turnpike like we wanted to be. So we rolled the window down a bit just so we can get a little cool, because we're getting hot from the sun and we're getting hot because we're annoyed by this traffic. So we're driving, inching along. We get onto the turnpike and there's still traffic. So at this point, we're literally just going nuts. We're like, yo, we're so tired of this traffic. This, like, New York needs to do something. Like, everyone tries to go to New York. Everyone's on the turnpike. There are too many people. I'm thinking, I want to move. This is why I want to get out of New Jersey. All of these thoughts are going through our head. We're inching along and disappointed at the fact that we've gotten onto the turnpike through the one lane that they had open for us, but there's still traffic. And according to Google Maps, it's still for a long way. So we're inching along. All of a sudden, we see a cop car on the left side in the car lane that isn't open to us. And mind you, there were cars in the car lane, but there was a lot of traffic on that side too. So both the car lane and the car and truck lane that run with each other, both were backed up with traffic. So as we're getting to a certain point, we see in the car lane that there's a cop car. So we're like, oh, there must be an accident. Maybe it's not just the funneling that's slowing us down. So we see one car that was smashed, another car that was smashed, another car that was smashed. We keep inching by and see about 2 or 3 more cars smashed. So there was a pileup on the car side of the turnpike. We both take a deep breath. Oh, and we exclaim to each other, that's what's going on. And we're looking at this accident like, dang. Ooh, and I say, I'm so glad we didn't get in that car side. I'm glad they blocked it off, because we'd be stuck right now. And it was a pretty bad accident. I pray that everyone made it out there safe. But some cars were smashed up, and it looks like there was one car that was right at the front and he just got caught in it. Like, I don't think he caused it, but I would be mad if I were one of those cars, because it looks like a lot of cars didn't cause the issue but just got caught up in it, and they caused the entire turnpike at that entrance to be backed up. But it was a pileup of cars. So we're thanking God, oh, thank God we didn't go on that side. All right, now we understand, now we get it. And as soon as we passed that pileup, as soon as we saw, then our side, the truck and car side, opened up and the traffic stopped. So there was also the recognition that a lot of people were also slowing down to look at the accident that was happening on the car side. And we just got very happy. Number one, we didn't get stuck on the car side. Number two, we were finally through the traffic. And number three, there was an understanding of our situation, of what was going on and why we had to deal with that traffic in the first place. So that helped us to breathe. And both of us felt these emotions. And it was just kind of a feeling of gratitude that we were not stuck in that, and also a feeling of gratitude that we understood now why we were slowed down in the first place, why we had to go through all of that traffic, why we had to go through the tribulation of, first of all, I'm paying a toll, and then I'm slow through the toll lane because of the traffic that's going on. So I was thinking about this experience that I just had in the car. And just the emotions, it's funny how even something like traffic can get you so emotional. We get so caught up in it because it's important to us. Being able to get up and just go where we want to in a timely fashion is important to us as human beings. And also there's kind of like this given that you're not going to be happy if you're in traffic because it's slowing you down. This made me think about life. And it made me think about life because sometimes, and personally for myself, I've felt like I've been in traffic. I felt like that in my life, I'm being slowed down. I have no understanding of where I'm at on the road. I know the road that I'm on. I understand what the turnpike is. However, for some reason right now, I'm being slowed down in my life, and it's annoying. For me, that looks like, if you know, I was a flight attendant before becoming a wife, before the pandemic, right? If the pandemic never happened, I'd still be a flight attendant. I wouldn't have my daughter. I wouldn't have my husband. I would still be a flight attendant right now. But the pandemic put a pause and a stop to a lot of the activities that we were doing. And for me, I got the sudden kind of message that this is time for you to let flight attendant life go. And I just trusted that and I went with it. However, I haven't necessarily, not that I regret my action in leaving Delta and leaving the flight attendant life. I'm very happy that I did. However, I find myself missing some of that lifestyle. It was a very fast-paced lifestyle. I was literally somewhere every single week. I was somewhere in a different state. I was at a training. I was on vacation. Every single week there was something going on. My life was quick. It was fast-paced. It was like going 90 on a turnpike. I knew where I was going and I was enjoying it. I had the windows down. The wind wasn't bothering me. It was a beautiful sunny day, clear road, and that was my life as a flight attendant. And then I become a wife, and then I become a mother, and then I become a caretaker for my grandmother. So there are all of these things that kind of put me in maybe not a pileup, but it put me in traffic. It slowed me down. So I can't go 90 on the turnpike anymore of my life. Right now, I was going the speed limit and I was okay with the speed limit. I'm still going where I need to go. But right now, I feel that my life has a lot of blockages. I feel like I'm driving slow and under the speed limit. And that has frustrated me in the things that I do every day, to the point where I felt depression about what's going on in my life. I felt frustration about not being able to get my business where I wanted to at a snap of a finger. I felt frustration with not being able to get up and go like I did when I was a flight attendant, to the point where I don't have a car anymore, right? I don't have my own car. My husband has to go to work. He's an electrician, so he works a lot. And we only have one car that we're working with right now because one car broke down. So whereas before I was able to just get up and, I could go somewhere with Journey if I wanted to. I could drive to my mom's to go hang out with a friend on my time. I can't even do that. If my husband's working, I now have to make plans to be able to do what I want to do. And that is an entirely different lifestyle. That's a traffic jam compared to the life that I was living before. And I've been frustrated, I realized, with it. And I honestly can't say that I've seen the pile up on the other side to give me clarity about why my life is in this pace at the moment. However, when I think about my experience in traffic the weekend on the way to Queens, it made me realize that who knows, number one, the pileup or the accidents that I could be avoiding in my life because I'm slowing down right now. I have a lot of people who depend on me. I have my husband who depends on me. I have my daughter who depends on me. I have grandma who depends on me. If I'm caught up in my life and in the fast lane, I know that there is something that I'm going to miss that I need to give to them to help nurture them. So perhaps I'm in this trafficked pace because I do need to sit down. I was flying everywhere all over the world before, but perhaps I need to be grounded. I need to ground myself to remember myself, who I am, but also so that I can be more rooted in my purpose. My actions can be rooted in my purpose because, traveling the world, that was my childhood dream. That was definitely my dream. And I was blessed to be able to fulfill a dream of mine. However, that dream, I didn't necessarily implant that into my purpose. So while I'm living a dream, I'm not living purposefully. And in my life, what I believe is important is living purposefully. And I can't do that if I'm just dreaming and flying all the time. So I'm coming through these thoughts right now, if you can't tell. But when I think about being in this slow-paced life that I'm in compared to what I was before, it is a blessing. It's definitely a blessing because, number one, I've been brought back to my Islam. Number one, my religion, my spirituality, who I am. And I feel better. I'm starting to feel better again in myself and who I am and how I treat other people and how I treat myself and what I'm doing with my family and the legacy we're building. I'm starting to feel better. 2, I'm building up patience, which is a trait that I never had. I can say that I never really had or practiced or valued even. I didn't really value patience. I valued now. I valued, if you're not doing it for me, you don't need to be in my life. And now I'm learning patience. With a toddler, you have to be patient. Teaching my daughter helps me to develop patience. She doesn't just learn ABCs by me saying it one time. She learns it by constantly being around it, constantly seeing the letters, constantly me singing to her, constantly me repeating and congratulating her when she gets one letter right or attempts one letter, So there's a patience that I'm learning, and I believe that is helping to add to me and who I am, helping me to grow into a better person. So I can be a better mother and wife and caretaker. And caretaker is a role that I would say that's the biggest traffic. That's the biggest piece of traffic in my way. That's like that being surrounded by 18-wheelers is me being a caretaker, because that's really slowed me down. Not only do I have to think of my daughter who I can take with me, but now I have a 94-year-old grandmother whose life is precious, and that life is in my hands. That life is in my hands. And that life is not, just malleable. Like she's a 94-year-old woman. So she has her ways, and that life isn't malleable, and it doesn't always mesh with mine, but I still have to be patient, and I still have to take care of that life. So these are those traffic, and to me, things that were slowing me down, and it got me pissed off. It got me frustrated. I was very depressed, and that depression looked like just sitting around the house all day doing nothing, because I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the energy to try to do something when I know I got to feed 3 mouths and myself somehow. That energy felt like me not feeding myself and just worrying about everyone else. That lack of energy looked like, not cleaning up, when I know I would feel better if I would just pick up some of Journey's toys from the floor instead of staring at them. So there are certain things that I identified in my life that it was kind of me acting out. It's me cursing in traffic. It's me, why I gotta sit behind it? My life sucks. However, what if I was just patient? What if I were more patient? What if I just moved through? I just inched through happily. And I can also do that with gratitude, because who knows the types of accidents or pileups or tragedies that I am being protected from because I am slowing down in life right now. If I were still going fast being a flight attendant, my daughter would be in daycare. Who am I putting her in daycare with that I know and trust? That is an opportunity for an accident, but I'm not having to do that because my life is in a slower pace. I have been able to slow down. So I hope this metaphor is making sense, but it's really something I thought about while washing the dishes. And I think about things like this while I'm doing daily activities. But I just have to say that I'm going to lean more into the gratitude of life, regardless of the pace that I'm going. And this doesn't mean that I don't want to travel. This doesn't mean that I don't wish I could still hop on a plane with Journey and my husband and go somewhere. Grandma already said, I asked her when she got here, you like planes? She said, nah. So with Grandma, it's road trips, but I still want to hop on a plane and go. But I have gotten the message that it's time for me to ground myself. It's time for me to slow down. It's time for me to accept the traffic. And being in the traffic the other weekend is making me realize that perhaps me accepting the slow pace, accepting the grounding, is me being protected from a possible accident or tragedy in my life in this moment. So I wanted to share that story. I wanted to share this message because I know that a lot of us are probably feeling the same ways. Frustration with our life, frustration with the fact that our business is not moving. A lot of us became self-employed. Maybe business isn't moving the way you want it to. For me, I will also say a lot of times it's because I'm looking at everyone else and what they're doing. I don't know anything about business. That wasn't my major. That's not what I've ever been interested in. So I look at other businesses to try to see what I should be doing. And that's cool as a point of reference. However, I have no idea the steps that business owner or that business had to take to get to where they are. I don't know how long they've been working to get to where they are. I don't know who they know or who they met in order to get where they are. What I do know is me. And what I do know is that I'm juggling being a stay-at-home mom. I'm juggling being a first-time wife. I'm juggling being a caretaker, and I'm doing the business. And honestly, business comes last for me when it comes to that because it's family first, it's legacy first for me. And I also have the blessing of having a husband who is a little more forward. He's a more advanced in his business than I am. So I can let him rock and I'll keep my slow pace in business, and I don't have to be frustrated with that. I don't have to compare myself to other people who don't have the lifestyle I do while I'm in my slow pace for building this business. So I definitely wanted to share that story. I definitely wanted to just share some of the frustrations and feelings that I've had because life is great. I love life. However, that doesn't mean I don't get frustrated. That also doesn't mean that I don't feel down. And that also doesn't mean that there are some things I would like to be doing that I'm not able to do now. But I have to accept it. I have to accept it. And also keep moving. I can accept that I'm at a slow pace, but keep moving towards my goal. I can accept that I'm stuck in traffic, but keep that gas on instead of turning my car off and just being pissed off. Or what some people do, they pull off to the shoulder and just wait for traffic to clear. If you pull off to the shoulder and wait for traffic to clear, you're going to be way more behind than you were in line if you just kept inching forward. So keep inching forward towards your goals, towards your purpose, towards your dreams, towards your, vacations, because I'm inching toward a vacation. But keep inching forward. And what is going to help you and me through all of that is having gratitude. Once I got through the traffic the other weekend, me and my husband, when we got through the traffic, we just literally, both of us had a big oh moment. And we were so grateful that we were not on that car side. We were so grateful that we were not stuck in the traffic still because God gave us a way to go into the other lane. We could have been 30 minutes earlier before they shut down the car side, and God forbid we could have been in the pileup, or we could have been stuck behind the pileup and been even longer in traffic. So when you walk with gratitude, you're more positive in the situations in life that you're in. You're more present. And being more present makes you content. It makes you content with your life, no matter what that life is in the moment. And that is an extremely positive thing, a mature thing, a wise thing. It's a wise demeanor to have. It makes you attract more positive people in your life. It makes you attract your goals. It helps you to manifest what it is that you're actually working towards. And it relieves a lot of stress. Like, there's no need for us to be stressed. Let's just continue to work, continue to inch along. Or if you're in a fast pace, go ahead, enjoy that fast pace, because I've been there. It's beautiful. But find the beauty in the slow pace as well, because all of it is necessary. Life is a mission. Life is a long mission. In my perspective, there aren't levels in life. Life is just a continuous video game, right? Life is a continuous story, and we have to be ready for the changes that come in that story. And we also have to be willing to continue. You can't put just a stop on it just because you've completed something you think is done, or, this level or this moment doesn't pop up the way that you think it will. We have to keep moving no matter how slow or fast paced we're going. Keep moving, keep a smile on, and avoid stress by just being content with where you are. Content with the fact that you're even in the car. Content with the fact that you opened your eyes today. Content with the fact that the sun didn't come out today, but content with the fact that, hey, the earth is not destroyed. We're going through global warming and all this stuff, but the earth is still functioning somehow. And that earth is functioning for us. So I definitely want to thank you all for tuning into this episode of the podcast. Please send me your feedback. Let me know what you think. I enjoy sharing this story. Share some of your stories too. You can go to anchor.fm/titimepodcast, and you can actually leave like a voice message for me with some feedback and anything that you want to say. You can also leave suggestions for podcast topics. I'm always here. I'm down. I'm open to it. Also, if you're interested in being a part of the podcast, I'm collecting guests for season 4. This season, I'm pretty much done with guests. I might have one towards the end. However, I am down to set up a later time for other people who are interested in sharing their stories and sharing their experiences on the podcast. So I appreciate you all for tuning into Tea Time. If you want to support, again, anchor.fm/teatimepodcast. And you can also get a mug. Now, these mugs are on acourseofaction.com/shop-byatiyaj. And you can get a Tea Time podcast mug with the new logo on it. This is the old logo. And support me. I really appreciate everyone for listening. Please like, subscribe, share, whatever you can do to promote this. I really appreciate you all. And I want you to think about your life, think about your pace, and then work to be content. Work to be content with where you are. Work to be content with where you at. Yeah. Peace.